Yeah, I guess that's a difficult question because it doesn't say if I identify primarily as a European. I guess I identify first as Portuguese and secondly as a European. I guess when people ask where you're from, I will say I'm from Portugal, and then it's I'm from the European Union. But yes, I think I identify with the set of values that the European Union promotes. So yeah, I could say that. So I think the moment that shaped my view was probably when I was around 7, 8 years old, and Durão Barroso, he's Portuguese. He was head of the European Commission, and I was very concerned with the environment and with plastic bags at the time, especially with plastic bags. And I decided that I would send him a letter. I think because he was Portuguese, it kind of connected me a little bit more with the European Union because I could write to him without having my parents translating it to English or any other language, and I could feel much closer to actually to the institution. So I wrote to him saying in a very sassy manner that I would, if I were him, I would I would ban plastic bags. And they responded. It wasn't him; it was his secretary. They responded. So it kind of connected me to such a big institution that is so bureaucratic in a way, and I think it makes people a little bit more distant than they would be from their own governments. But it did bring me a sense of connection, and that things could actually change from there. So I think I began to believe a bit more in the European Union from that moment. All right, all right. Since I'm recent myself, um, I think I won't go too far back. But I think the worst moment for me in recent history of the European Union would be the refugee crisis. That I think that because I think it was dealt with uh, in a way that had no sense of direction. So refugees would be arriving in the shores of Italy, for example. And Italy would say, "I don't want refugees here," and they would send them to Poland. And Poland would say no, and they would send them to Germany. I think there was no direction in the beginning of what the states would do from the head of the European Union. It was dealt with from below, from the bottom. And while in many circumstances that can be great, in that case specifically, I think it lacked a little bit of um, action from the top to coordinate. So yeah, that would be my pick for the worst moment. Okay, no, I would say that the best moment, or one of the best moments for me was, and it can be counterintuitive, but the way that Brexit was dealt with at the heart of the European Union. So I think that it could have been a very dramatic situation. So it could have gone very badly for the EU because we were seeing many movements rising in certain countries that wanted to break from the EU as well and follow Britain's example. And I think the way that it was dealt with, the way that the European Union maintained its identity while um, dealing with something that had never been dealt with before, and to say that to kind of maintaining mm, the stability inside while many crises were going on, because at the time Catalonia as well was, and Spain was, they were dealing with many issues inside their own territory that could affect the European Union, same time as Brexit. So I think it was very well dealt with. So yes, I think one of the best moments, I would put that in one of the best moments, for sure. For me personally, allowing me to experience different cultures, because although we are very close to one another in terms of the dimension of the European Union, there are many different cultures, sometimes inside same country, although that doesn't really happen in Portugal. I can see that it happens right next to us in Spain. Many different cultures, and such a rich environment to live in, and I'm very grateful for that. And I'm very grateful, for example, for the opportunity to travel around, and to travel around at such a very inexpensive way, that is Interrail, for example. So I think I'm very grateful for that, and that's a very good thing that it has done for me personally, but also for many young people that I noticed, the ability to travel without requesting the other country to go to the country, because of the agreements, and Interrail, particularly for young people. I think it's very important, and it's a very good experience. I would like the European Union to figure out its direction, if it's going in the federal direction, or if it's going in a more international organization kind of direction, because many people, and or in between, because I'm seeing many movements right now that want to make the European Union a federal organization, so a federal state, and I would not like to see that happening, because but that's personal. But I would like for the European Union in the next 10 years to figure out its direction. Yeah, I would say that. I think that for the federal part, it would be really sad to see the European turn into a federal state, because of all the historical events that have happened that don't really permit, in my way of understanding things, they don't really permit that to happen. And if it were to happen, it could ruin the whole institution. So yeah, that's what I would like to add.
Do you mean, could you elaborate on that a little bit? Do you mean that if the European Union becomes a federation, certain aspects of Europe or the European Union will be eroded or compromised?
Yes, I do mean that. I think that if we look at the history of each country in the European Union, except for Portugal, I would say, they all have a compromised sense of nationality, or of nation state. So Italy is a very recent country. Germany is a very recent country as well. France has its own problems inside. I would not want to go into the East, because the East is, I think the Balkans produce more history than what they can handle. So for them to see their sovereignty taken even more, I think it could be very, very difficult to manage. So, and we have a close example here in Portugal, that is Spain. Spain is so diverse, and if if we take that from them even more, or that sense of nationality that they tend to promote and that tends to feed the nationalistic movements, I think that could be ruinous. But I think that really could harm the stability of the European Union. I like the idea of a union, especially because it benefits benefits us in the state, in the sense that it brings stability to Europe, and Europe never really had that stability except for the 19th century. But again, the 19th century and the peace of that it was achieved in the 19th century exploded. But so yeah, I would like to see a union, perhaps a stronger European Union in certain senses, but a smaller intervention. If you understand what I mean. So so a strong institution with smaller platforms of intervention in the countries, or and I think that would be I think that would be wise. So in the things that they have to intervene, to intervene strong, to interfere with it strongly, but to reduce its sphere of influence in legal terms, for example. I think it's more about autonomy, but also about decentralization. So I think the closer that the decisions are to its citizens, or the citizens the decisions affect, the better they are for the political stability, because people will identify more with the structure that is determining their laws. So I'm for decentralization, either in Portugal or the European Union, but I'm also for a strong small government. So that applies also to the European Union. That's why I was saying that it should reduce its sphere of action, so bring more autonomy to the states, and also be stronger in the sphere of influence that it still holds.